Chapter 7. Frequently Asked Questions Related to Self-Discipline. The questions I'm about to answer come from my readers who have shared with me their challenges and most common problems. For one reason or another, I couldn't answer them in prior chapters, so I decided to cover them all in the final chapter of this book. Please note that I can't address every possible challenge, but the solution to one problem can often help handle another difficulty. Moreover, many questions and subsequent suggestions are broad enough to cover a lot of related issues. Due to the number of topics we'll cover in this long chapter, actionable implications will come right after each question instead of at the end of the chapter. Consequently, the final quick recap at the end of the chapter will cover only the most essential points. Without further ado, let's start. How do I maintain self-discipline when doing menial or uncreative tasks like bookkeeping? Delegation is the answer. Even the best one-man operation can benefit from delegating some tasks to other people. It makes little sense to tap into your willpower to force yourself to work on tasks you don't do well, like bookkeeping, graphic design, or programming. Doing things you hate will drain you out of energy you could have used on the key tasks. As soon as you can afford it, delegate every single business task that isn't your strength. If you can't afford to delegate certain tasks, do them all on a day where little happens, like a weekend. This way, they won't occupy your mind during the work week when you should be focused on the priorities. Last but not least, if you can't afford to delegate tasks you find boring or annoying, you might as well find some enjoyment in doing them, or remind yourself why they're useful. For instance, for one of my businesses, I needed to create a long list of potential customers. It required countless hours of collecting data. I could have grumbled how much I hated it, and for a period of time I did. Then I reminded myself that the spreadsheet I was building was important. I might not have liked collecting data, but the final result, a list of potential customers, would make me money. Changing my attitude didn't change the fact that I had to do this task, but at least I felt better about doing it. It's your choice how your work makes you feel. Actionable implications. Figure out which task takes the most of your time or energy and delegate it to someone else. If you still haven't delegated bookkeeping and accounting to a professional, take care of it first. Even if you're a professional bookkeeper or accountant, your job as an entrepreneur is to grow your business, not worry about paperwork. If you've already delegated these tasks, consider delegating simple time-consuming admin jobs like data entry, or jobs you never do well, like graphic design or programming. If you can't afford to delegate, designate one day a week when you'll take care of all the jobs you hate doing that need to be done. Lastly, if you can't delegate certain tasks, try to change your attitude about them. You have control over how these tasks make you feel, so find a way to give them some meaning or come up with a way to make them more fun to do. How do I stay motivated when I feel discouraged? All entrepreneurs constantly have to learn new things and overcome challenges to stay on top of their game. Get used to it. An entrepreneur has to be able to thrive despite difficulties. To maintain resolve when things get hard and you feel discouraged, prevention, setting the right expectations, is key. Be cautious of the false hope syndrome, a cycle of failure and renewed effort, in which people have unrealistic expectations of self-change. This problem is particularly common among entrepreneurs with little to no business experience, who set goals that are almost impossible to achieve. Don't get me wrong, it's good to think big. However, there's a fine line between thinking big and being unrealistic, and it might be difficult to tell the difference if you don't have much business experience. Generally speaking, it's good to make peace with the fact that it's highly unlikely your first business will become wildly successful. Funders and Founders, a design company specializing in infographics, has created numerous infographics in which they show the paths of the most successful entrepreneurs. One thing you can learn from these infographics is that every entrepreneur needed at least a couple of tries before they achieved big success. For instance, British billionaire Richard Branson and American billionaire Mark Cuban both started 4 companies before they made their first million. When you acknowledge that your first business probably won't be wildly successful, you'll save yourself some disappointment that could otherwise ruin your resolve. Please note, it doesn't mean you should expect your business to bankrupt you. Spectacular failures rarely happen. You're more likely to either lose some money or break even. Don't let a lack of success deter you from starting a company, though. Losing some and winning some is a part of the process to gain experience. It's rare for a young person with little to no experience to launch a business that will cover all their living expenses within months. It takes years to develop the proper work ethic, mindset, and gain enough knowledge to launch a successful company. If you're young and inexperienced, come to terms with the fact that your journey will most likely take a few years before you can call yourself a full-time entrepreneur and have the income to prove it. It took me about 7 years to mature as an entrepreneur, and yes, I too deluded myself thinking that it wouldn't take so long. My story isn't rare. Most entrepreneurs I know went through a similar process. Things are brighter for people who possess marketable skills and work ethic developed in a day job. Working for the man may not be what you want, but it's a solid base to transition into entrepreneurship. According to the Freelancing in America 2015 report, 60% of the freelancers who left their day jobs now earn more, and of those, 78% indicated that within a year or less, they earned more freelancing than in their day job. Now, these numbers might not be a 100% representative sample. However, it still shows that it isn't rare for people who already possess the skills to build a successful business, even within a year. Things are supposed to be hard. If they weren't, more people would be successful entrepreneurs. Difficulties are like a rite of passage, and some people transition into entrepreneurship while others are sifted out. If you start your journey with the assumption it's going to be a piece of cake, you're in for a nasty surprise. I strongly suggest reading at least a few biographies of successful entrepreneurs to understand that gaining early business experience is synonymous with constant challenges and failures. After setting the right expectations and acknowledging reality, another way to stay motivated when things are hard is to find enjoyment in the process. When you switch your attitude from, "I'll be happy when I make X amount of money with my business," to, "I'm grateful to be on this journey. Results will soon follow," it will be easier to handle the bad moments. Have your goal in mind, but don't forget to appreciate your current accomplishments, no matter how modest they are. Last but not least, whenever you find yourself in a difficult situation and your motivation is running out, remind yourself that once you overcome your problems, you'll have a great war story to tell. One of my businesses landed me in debt. It was hard to stay positive when I was constantly worried about how to keep my business alive and get out of debt. What helped me stay motivated was reminding myself that I would eventually handle these problems, and this would make me a stronger person. I would have a great inspirational story to share too. It sounds trite, but such reminders can make a world of difference when you feel defeated. Actionable implications. Setting the right expectations is key to preventing big disappointments. Read some real-world stories of successful entrepreneurs to understand the long process needed to make it big. To educate yourself on how long it takes for a normal person to achieve success, seek out the stories of average Joes too. Blogs and forums for entrepreneurs are full of such stories. If you're already feeling defeated, switch your attitude. Focus on what's right, even if it's a tiny thing. And remind yourself it's a phase, not a permanent situation. How do I maintain self-discipline when everyone says no? Everybody who has ever worked in sales knows how debilitating it can be to hear one no after another. The more rejections you get, the less motivated you are. How do you ensure you won't give up, even when everyone else says no? First, give a monetary value to a no. The worst part about constant rejection is that it feels like you're not going anywhere. And if you're not getting any results for a long period of time, discouragement creeps in. If you've already received some yeses, even just a few, you can guesstimate the ratio of the yes and no answers and give your no's a monetary value. For instance, if each yes means a $100 sale and you get one yes out of 100 calls, then each rejection generates $1 because it's one no closer to a $100 yes. Obviously, statistics don't have to work exactly like in this example, but it's beside the point. What's important is that giving a no a monetary value makes you feel like you're accomplishing something. It's no longer a fruitless undertaking, but a process that eventually leads to success. Remember the words of Thomas Edison, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each one of those failures was a valuable investment toward the eventual payoff. Second, focus on the action itself. I used to be an extremely shy person. To overcome my crippling shyness, I forced myself to approach women in the street. As you can probably imagine, most women approached by a stranger will summarily reject him. If I had focused exclusively on the result, I would have given up early, embarrassed because of all the rejections. Consequently, my primary goal wasn't to find a date, but to simply make an approach despite fear. What happened after I uttered the first few words didn't count. However, since I wasn't attached to a particular outcome, I actually did just fine and met with positive reactions. Once I overcame the fear and became comfortable approaching women, the results came naturally as a byproduct of me focusing on the approach in itself. I tried the same approach, pardon the pun, in business. Instead of focusing on the end result, I made sure to help a potential client as much as I could. Granted, it's harder not to become attached to a result if you're broke and need to make sales, but it is possible. Make an effort to focus on the attempt in itself and helping your potential client. More often than not, it will project a confident aura that will attract them to you. Next, avoid hearing no altogether. In many businesses, people rely on brute force marketing techniques. Instead of drawing people in, they push them to buy their products. While this approach can still work in some industries, consumers are increasingly rejecting hard selling. Fewer and fewer people are happy to receive sales calls or emails without asking for them. Enter permission marketing, a type of marketing where the potential client comes to you instead of the other way around. When was the last time a plastic surgeon called you to try this new plastic surgery of his? Patients seek surgeons, not the other way around. Position yourself as an expert in your industry or offer some of your products or services for free, and you too can become that surgeon. I make some of my books and other materials available for free. Potential readers can familiarize themselves with my work with no risk. If they're ready, they can purchase other products. I'm not scouting the internet, looking for potential new readers and asking them to buy my books. Consequently, I don't have to hear no's. Read works by Seth Godin or Perry Marshall's book, 80-20 Sales and Marketing, to learn more about how to make people come to you. You'll not only hear no's less often, you'll also get better results while working fewer hours. Actionable implications. If you have to cold call or cold email potential clients, and you've already got a few yeses, assign a monetary value to each no. Estimate how many no's you need to hear before you get a yes. Calculate the value of an average yes and divide it by the number of no's. There you go. Now you know how much each no is approximately worth and how close you are to another sale. In addition to the first technique, you can also switch your attitude to focus on the action itself, like making a call, instead of a particular result. Not having any expectations is often more beneficial than attaching yourself to a particular result, like a sale, and rarely getting it. Last but not least, if you can't handle the number of no's you hear on a daily basis, learn about permission marketing. Think in terms of how you can draw people in instead of chasing them. How do I stay motivated when all I can do is wait? In many businesses, you often have to wait for somebody else to deliver your product, your contractor, manufacturer, shipping company. Give a green light to release it, your business partner, a government agency, a distributor, or sign a contract to buy your solution, a client. When there's little you can do to push things forward, you can't be proactive, and this can lead to self-doubt. There are two primary ways to deal with this issue. The first one is to get yourself occupied with tasks that might not be particularly important, but that need to be done. It might be a perfect time to work on all these menial tasks you couldn't force yourself to do before. Mindless data entry or other admin work might just be what you need to get your mind occupied while you wait for the decision, finished product, or a shipment. The second way to stay motivated is to shift your mind elsewhere. Since you can't do much during the waiting period anyway, why not use it as an opportunity to take a break or nurture yourself? Find a challenge in sports, learn a new skill, or simply spend some time with your friends and family. Actionable implications. If there's little you can do to make things move more quickly, occupy yourself with the little business tasks that should have been done a long time ago, but that you always postponed. If you don't have any such tasks, take a break. The key is to take your mind off waiting and do something else. How do I boost my confidence when business goes down? Entrepreneurship can be a wild roller coaster. One day you're on the top, the next your heart is in your throat as acceleration pushes you into the seat. What do you do to deal with low confidence when your business goes down? Or more importantly, how can you prevent or minimize the discouragement when business slows down? Here are 7 solutions. Number 1, have savings. The less financial security you have, the more of a hit your confidence will take when your business goes down. It's one thing when business goes down, but you still have some savings, and another when you can't pay the bills. In the former, you can still think clearly. In the latter, it's easy to get desperate and make your situation even worse. Consequently, an emergency fund that will cover at least 3 to 6 months of your regular living expenses is a must. If you don't have it yet, start saving a percentage of your income each month to build a fund to support yourself and your family during slower periods. Number 2, diagnose and act. When business goes down, discouragement and resignation may follow. Instead of wallowing in the bad emotions, get your mind off them and diagnose the reason why the business isn't doing well. Once you make a list of potential reasons, act on them. The mere act of taking action will help you regain control over the situation and recover some self-confidence. Number 3, keep your eyes open and your lights on. When the business is slow, it's tempting to cut corners. An owner of a brick-and-mortar store closes it earlier because nobody will come anyway. An owner of an online business takes longer to reply to potential customers because, after all, what's the difference? Such an attitude does nothing to fix the situation. Quite the contrary, it actually worsens it and reduces the chances you'll take advantage of an opportunity when it arises. Whenever you find yourself in a bad business situation, it's time to up your game. Keep your lights on and your eyes open for possible opportunities to turn the tide. Number 4, prioritize growth over cutting expenses. When you lose confidence in your ability to grow the business, you'll most likely feel the temptation to cut as many expenses as you can. It can be a sound solution only if it's done carefully and to genuine unnecessary expenses. Unfortunately, many entrepreneurs get too desperate, and instead of finding new ways to increase their revenues, they focus almost exclusively on skimping and saving. As a result, the quality of their products goes down. The morale of their team gets a hit, and the entire business keeps shrinking as cost optimization eats it piece by piece. The only result of prioritizing cost optimization over increasing your profits is that you slow down the decay of the business, but you don't do much to reverse the trend. To regain control over the bad situation, resist the temptation to cut as many expenses as you can, and instead focus on how you can grow your business. Look at it this way: you can only cut so many expenses, but your earning potential is unlimited. Number 5, tweak and experiment. No matter if things are going well or turning sour, it's vital to invest some of your resources into innovation. Tweaking and experimenting can help you uncover new sources of revenue, trends that you can ride to grow your business, or a new market in which you can become a leader. When business is slow, it's particularly important to keep trying new things and fixing your existing processes. Getting yourself occupied with improvements will keep your spirits up and provide hope that's essential to stay motivated despite obstacles and setbacks. Number 6, get a fresh perspective. Bringing a fresh perspective into your business can help you get it back on track. You don't necessarily have to hire a new employee. A fresh perspective can come from a friend you ask for an opinion, or from professional colleagues on an entrepreneur forum you'll ask for advice. It can also come from you if you go on vacation, recharge your batteries, and come back with new insights and renewed energy to revive your troubled company. Number 7, boost your self-esteem. As we've already discussed, many entrepreneurs have a tendency to associate their self-esteem with the performance of their business. When the business goes down, your self-esteem takes a hit too. With low self-esteem, it's harder to maintain your resolve. So it's key to boost your self-esteem as much as you can while you work on your business to get well again. I strongly suggest having a challenging hobby or two that you can practice to get your mind off business and boost your well-being. If business is the biggest, or even worse, the only factor that defines your self-esteem, a downturn can wreak havoc on your levels of self-discipline. If many things contribute to your sense of self-esteem, it will be more crisis-resistant. Actionable implication. I've just given you 7 practical ways to deal with low self-confidence when your business goes down. The bottom line, and ultimately the most important actionable implication you can get out of this subchapter, is that when your business goes down, it's time to get even more proactive. If you drop your guard, you'll get hit even harder. If you're now in such a situation, get yourself together. Set a timer for 30 minutes and make a list of actions you can take to help your business stand on firm ground again. It doesn't matter if your business is suffering because of an economic downturn or anything else you can't control. There's always something you can do to fix the situation, and it's always better than resignation. How do I beat short-term attacks of procrastination? You sit in front of your computer and look at your to-do list. You know what needs to be done, but for some reason you can't fathom. You just can't. Short-term attacks of procrastination are different than long-term procrastination. With the latter, you postpone things for days or weeks on end. While you can eliminate this kind of procrastination from your life almost entirely, dealing with short-term intensive bursts of inertia isn't that feasible. Such days just sometimes happen. Instead of trying to get motivated, what usually helps me is to try to get momentum. When I asked a best-selling author and fitness expert, Derek Depker, what was his top strategy for persistence, he replied, "I simply ask myself, can I just? And then insert an action so easy I can do it, no matter how unmotivated I feel." Have you ever noticed that it's after you start doing something, then you feel like you want to keep on going? Instead of trying to get motivation, try to get momentum. The motivation will naturally follow. Success breeds success. Each time you're victorious at doing even a little thing, your sense of accomplishment and desire to do more will grow. In fact, I used this little trick right before writing these words. I struggled to motivate myself to start writing, so I started putting some words on the page. An hour has passed, and my daily word quota has been accomplished, almost as if by magic. Actionable implication. Whatever your task is, get started on it, not with the intention to finish it, but just to get momentum. More often than not, taking the first steps is all that's needed to overcome procrastination and regain motivation. How do I find the willpower to work on my business if I have a day job and other obligations? Working on your business is hard enough, and it's even harder with a day job and other obligations. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not a viable excuse. A lot of people have been in the exact same situation and figured it out. You can do it too. I could give you numerous tips how to make more time during your day. I cover a lot of them in my book, How to Have More Time. But in the end, there's only one extremely effective piece of advice you should definitely implement in your life. The 1-hour workday. Before you call me crazy, thinking I must have surely lost my bearings, please hear me out. We all like to believe we're working extremely hard, and there's absolutely not enough time to fit everything into the busy schedule. In reality, the problem isn't about not having enough time, as it's about not having enough distraction-free time. You'd be surprised how much you could achieve if you only spend 60 minutes working in a totally focused way with zero distractions. I put so much emphasis throughout the book on the fact that building your business should be first and foremost sustainable because it's the key to productivity. Don't fall victim to the glamorous 100-hour work week, which perhaps makes you look like a hero, but in the end leads to decreased productivity, burnout, exhaustion, sickness, or in the worst cases, even death. Karoshi, or overworked death, is a real threat in Japan. Jeffrey J. McDonald, a professor in the School of Environment and Sustainability at the University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon, Canada, wrote an article entitled The 1-Hour Workday, in which he praises the power of doing small amounts of focused writing every day. As McDonald points out in the article, despite him working like a madman, his productivity as measured by paper output was meager. It was only when he introduced a 1-hour workday, 1 hour of focused writing every single morning, that he could finally get something done. My 1-hour workday is similar. If I'm writing a new book, it's writing 1,000 words a day. If I'm editing a book, it's editing a chapter a day. Even if I don't accomplish anything else, it's still a productive day. What is your 1-hour workday? Figure out one key task that will help you grow your business and focus on it during your magic hour. If you stick to such a routine every single day, and 1 hour a day is manageable, isn't it? The results will amaze you. The key to make this strategy work is to find at least 1 hour of distraction-free time. I strongly suggest waking up early, 5 or 6 a.m., for the quietest time during the day. Even if you consider yourself a night owl, I still urge you to experiment with early rising. I used to stay up until 3 a.m. Now I regularly wake up at 5 a.m., and I'm done with all my key tasks, daily hygiene, exercise, work, before 9 a.m. Actionable implication. Right now, set your alarm clock at least 1 hour earlier than usual. Starting tomorrow, protect the first hour of your day as the most sacrosanct time in your life. Spend the entire hour working on the most important task that will push your business forward. Even if you can't afford to spend more time working on your business, it will still get you closer to reaching your goal than you imagine. Let's review frequently asked questions related to self-discipline. If you find it hard to maintain self-discipline when you're working on menial tasks, find a way to delegate them. If you can't do it, batch them and do them during one day. Changing your attitude about these tasks, finding meaning and usefulness in them instead of complaining how boring and uncreative they are, will also help you. It's easy to lose motivation when things are hard and it seems like you'll never achieve your goals. The key to keeping your spirits up is to have the right expectations. For example, research how often it takes a regular person to achieve the goal you want to achieve, instead of assuming you can do it unrealistically quickly. Also, don't forget that it's the process that makes you successful. Appreciate it for all it brings into your life, including challenges. Hearing no's all the time can break the resolve of even the most disciplined person. The best way to deal with rejection is to focus on the action itself and stop attaching yourself to the result. If you find yourself in a situation where all you can do is wait, get yourself occupied with tasks that you've been procrastinating on for a long time. Obsessing over the fact that you'll have to wait can lead to self-doubt and discouragement. Alternatively, take advantage of the opportunity to take a quick break and return with renewed energy. The key to dealing with a negative emotional state when your business goes down is to stay proactive. If you let resignation take control over your life, you might as well give up now. Take an action, any action, to get yourself out of the hole instead of digging an even deeper one. If you find it hard to get started on your everyday tasks, try to start working with no expectation of finishing a given activity. Just write the first sentence, email one client, write the first line of code, or whatever it takes to begin work. More often than not, within minutes, you'll gain momentum to keep going. A day job and other obligations can make it hard to work on your business. It doesn't mean it's a good excuse not to stay self-disciplined, though. Use the power of the 1-hour workday to ensure steady, even if slow, progress. Wake up early and dedicate the entire 60 minutes to distraction-free work on the most important task. Even if it's all you can do to grow your business on a daily basis, one focused hour of work a day can bring extraordinary results. Epilogue. I believe that entrepreneurs are the lifeblood of our modern world, and they need all the support they can get. I wrote this book to add my small contribution and help you gain practical knowledge to improve your self-discipline and make your life as an entrepreneur easier. The life of an entrepreneur can be arduous, but its rewards are worth it. Few lifestyle choices can provide you with so many enriching experiences as building your own business. Likewise, nothing else will test your persistence and self-discipline as much as being out there on your own, being the only person responsible for your success. As a final quick recap, I want you to remember, it all starts with proper motivation. If you're an entrepreneur by nature, you most likely won't lack a solid reason why you should keep going, but it's still worth it to consider various additional motivators to strengthen your resolve. Your surroundings create your life. It's your choice who your friends are, what books you read, how you spend your time, and what behaviors you exhibit on a daily basis. Make your life about more than just entrepreneurship. It's addictive to work on your business, but it shouldn't be the only love of your life. Remember that you work to live, not live to work. Dedication and focus are the keys to success. In our rapidly moving world, it's harder and harder to maintain single focus and commit. But you aren't an entrepreneur because you want to be like everybody else, right? Being proactive is vital to develop a proper attitude. Entrepreneurs don't wait for things to happen. They make them happen. I want you to keep creating new things, starting new ventures, or improving your existing businesses, and changing the world for the better with your unique entrepreneurial energy and spirit. Keep going despite whatever life throws at you. Say no to things that endanger your long-term results and strive to improve your self-discipline. It's only by maintaining a strong work ethic and being comfortable with discomfort you can continuously achieve more and more in both your entrepreneurial and personal life. I hope we'll see each other in my other books, in which you'll learn about improving other aspects of your life and achieving ultimate success. Good luck. This has been Self-Discipline for Entrepreneurs: How to Develop and Maintain Self-Discipline as an Entrepreneur. Written by Martin Meadows. Narrated by John Geinpen.